The winter night in Boston felt like a blade against skin, sharp and unforgiving. Noah Parker huddled beneath the Charles River Bridge, his thin frame wrapped in layers that did little against the December chill. At 24, the concrete beneath him had become more familiar than a bed. His most treasured possession wasn't his worn backpack or the few dollars in his pocket, it was his grandfather's jacket, frayed at the edges but still carrying the faint scent of motor oil and aftershave. The same grandfather who had taught him how engines spoke if you listened carefully enough, how to respect tools, and most importantly, how to maintain dignity when the world offered none. Noah's fingers, reddened by cold, gently traced the medical textbook he'd salvaged from a secondhand bookstore. Its pages were highlighted, annotated in margins evidence of a dream that refused to die despite everything. By day, he cleaned windshields at intersections, fixed minor car issues at a local gas station, and collected whatever people were willing to give. By night, he studied anatomy, physiology, and medical ethics under the harsh glow of street lamps. 6 years earlier, in Portland, Maine, 18-year-old Noah had spoken 3 words that erased his home, "I am gay." His father's expression had hardened into something unrecognizable. His mother's silence hurt more than shouting ever could. That night, he was given a trash bag for his belongings and shown the door. The rain that fell seemed appropriate, the sky mourning what his family would not. 2 years at community college followed, working double shifts to pay tuition until his mother's illness consumed his savings. Her heart condition, treatable but expensive, went undertreated by doctors who saw her lack of insurance before they saw her pain. Noah remembered holding her hand in the hospital, promising to become the kind of doctor who would never turn someone away. 3 months later, he made that promise to a headstone instead. The memory dissolved as headlights cut through darkness, illuminating Noah's temporary home. He tucked the book away, rising to face another day of survival rather than living. In the financial district, tall buildings gleamed like distant planets, another universe entirely. As he prepared his squeegee for the morning rush, a sleek car stopped at the light. Inside sat Alexander Winters, 32-year-old CEO of WinterMed. His sharp eyes focused on a phone call, unaware that in moments their worlds would collide in ways neither could imagine. The attack happened so quickly, a figure lunging toward his open window, reaching for his wallet. Without hesitation, Noah dropped his bucket and moved. Not because he was brave, but because somewhere beneath years of rejection, he still believed kindness mattered. The struggle was brief but violent. Noah took a blow to his face but managed to fend off the attacker, who fled with only Alexander's designer glasses left behind in the scuffle. "Give those back," Alexander demanded, mistaking Noah for an accomplice. His voice carried the authority of someone used to being obeyed. "I'm not," Noah began, extending the glasses with a steady hand. "I was trying to help." When he offered his credit card, he shook his head. "Keep it. I don't want payment for doing what's right." Something shifted in his expression, surprise, then curiosity. As the light turned green and he drove away, neither knew they had just written the first line of a story that would transform them both. Sometimes the universe places people in our path for reasons beyond understanding. For Noah and Alexander, their chance encounter would prove that the distance between two worlds isn't measured in miles, but in moments of connection that remind us of our shared humanity. Follow Heart Stories for more tales that bridge the spaces between us and remind us that sometimes saving someone else might just save ourselves. Alexander Winters returned to the financial district 3 days later, determined to find the homeless man who had intervened when he was attacked. The memory of his refusal to take his money haunted him. It contradicted everything he thought he knew about people in his situation. He found Noah at the same corner, cleaning windshields with methodical precision, his movements efficient despite the healing cut above his eyebrow. When he approached with cash in hand, Noah hesitated. His weathered face betrayed an internal struggle between pride and practical need. "This is too much," he said, finally accepting only a fraction of what Alexander offered. Alexander noticed a medical textbook peeking from his backpack, its spine cracked from frequent reading. "You study medicine?" he asked, his voice free of the condescension Noah had grown accustomed to from well-dressed strangers. "When I can," he replied, closing himself like a book. "It helps pass the time." The light in his eyes briefly dimmed, as though remembering something distant and painful. Alexander sensed the weight behind his words but didn't press further. He thanked him again and left. But the encounter left questions circling in his mind like autumn leaves caught in wind. Fate intervened again the following week when Alexander's luxury sedan stalled just blocks from where Noah took shelter. As he waited for roadside assistance, a familiar figure appeared beside his window. "Pop the hood," Noah said simply. His hands moved with surprising confidence, diagnosing the problem with the precision of someone who understood machines intimately. Within minutes, his engine hummed back to life. "Where did you learn to do that?" Alexander asked, genuinely impressed. "My grandfather owned a garage in Maine, so Noah explained, wiping grease from his fingers with a rag. "He taught me engines speak their own language, if you listen carefully enough." For the first time, his voice carried warmth rather than caution. Alexander insisted on buying him dinner at a nearby cafe, not charity, he emphasized, but gratitude. Over steaming cups of coffee, walls began to lower. Noah described his 2 years at community college, his voice growing softer when mentioning his mother's illness. Alexander shared his own passion for improving healthcare access, explaining that WinterMed developed technology to make diagnosis more affordable and accurate. Their conversation flowed until interrupted by Matthew Crawford, Alexander's childhood friend and PR director at WinterMed. His arrival brought an immediate chill. He eyed Noah with thinly veiled disgust, whispering loudly enough for him to hear. "Alex, what are you doing with this person?" The air between them crackled with tension. Alexander straightened his shoulders and responded firmly. "Having dinner with someone who helped me twice now." Noah began gathering his few belongings, preparing to retreat, but Alexander's hand on his arm stopped him. "You don't have to leave." After Matthew departed with obvious disapproval, an uncomfortable silence settled between them. "People like him are why people like me stay invisible," Noah finally said. No anger in his voice, just resigned understanding. Days later, Alexander sought Noah out again, this time bringing warm food and a blanket. He found him beneath the bridge, surrounded by meticulously organized possessions, each item with purpose. Nothing wasted. As they sat side by side watching their reach in the river, Alexander revealed his hidden passion for painting, showing Noah photos of canvases he kept hidden from his business-focused family. "They think art is a distraction," he admitted, "but it's the only time I feel truly myself." Noah nodded in understanding. "We all wear masks," he said quietly. Then, like removing his own mask, he shared the full story of his rejection, his father's cold dismissal, his mother's silent compliance, and ultimately her death while waiting for care that came too late. "That's why I want to be a doctor," he explained, voice steady despite the pain beneath his words. "So no one dies because they can't afford to live." As night fell around them, something shifted between Noah and Alexander, a recognition that despite vastly different circumstances, both understood what it meant to hide pieces of themselves from the world. Both knew the weight of expectations and the cost of authenticity. In that shared understanding, trust began to grow like delicate spring flowers pushing through winter soil, fragile yet determined to reach the light. The invitation arrived unexpectedly, an elegant card offering Noah a place at WinterMed's annual fundraising gala. Alexander had written a personal note, "Your perspective on healthcare matters more than those who merely profit from it." Noah held the card with the same care he might show a rare butterfly, something beautiful but foreign to his world. The prospect of entering Alexander's realm filled him with equal parts longing and dread. After much internal debate, Noah agreed. Alexander arranged everything: a tailored suit once belonging to his brother, a hotel room to prepare in, and transportation to the venue. Standing before the mirror in clothes that transformed his external appearance while leaving his inner uncertainty untouched, Noah barely recognized himself. The man reflected back seemed to belong somewhere he did not. The ballroom of Boston's Heritage Hotel gleamed with crystal and silver, filled with people whose collective net worth could solve homelessness in the city. Noah moved cautiously through the crowd, feeling eyes tracking his movements, sensing his otherness despite his disguise. Richard Winters, Alexander's father and Wintermed's founder, observed him with obvious suspicion, whispering to board members while casting glances in his direction. Noah considered retreat until Alexander appeared at his side, radiant in a perfectly tailored tuxedo, his presence anchoring him in this unfamiliar ocean. "Ignore them," he whispered. "They judge what they don't understand." His hand briefly touched his arm, a gesture so simple yet profoundly comforting. Later, as Alexander took the stage to speak about Wintermed's mission, Noah watched with growing admiration. He spoke passionately about healthcare inequalities, about technology as a bridge rather than a barrier. Halfway through his speech, Noah noticed something others missed: a slight tremor in his hand, an unusual pause between sentences, a faint sheen of perspiration despite the cool room. His medical studies had taught him to recognize these subtle signs. When Alexander suddenly clutched his chest and stumbled, the audience gasped. Noah moved before thinking, pushing past security to reach him as he collapsed. "Call an ambulance," he commanded, loosening his bow tie while checking his pulse. "He's having a cardiac event." Security attempted to pull him away, but Noah refused to move. "His pulse is irregular and thready," he insisted, using terminology that gave even the guards pause. "He needs a hospital immediately." At Massachusetts General Hospital, Noah faced new barriers. The receptionist eyed his appearance with skepticism despite the expensive suit. "Sir, unless you're family." "He has congenital heart arrhythmia," Noah interrupted firmly. "Check for prolonged QT intervals and administer vasodilators." He mentioned childhood rheumatic fever in his medical history. The medical terminology flowing from someone they perceived as an outsider created confusion, then reluctant respect. Dr. Mitchell, the attending physician, later confirmed Noah's assessment. "Your friend was lucky." "How did you know?" "I studied," Noah replied simply, "and I watched." When the Winters family arrived, their gratitude quickly soured upon learning who had brought Alexander in. Richard Winters took one look at Noah and demanded security remove this homeless person. Hospital staff, who had witnessed Noah's knowledge and composure, hesitated. "He saved my life." Alexander's voice, weak but determined, came from the hospital bed where he had regained consciousness. "He stays." Left alone with Alexander, Noah listened as he revealed his lifelong battle with the same heart condition that had taken his mother, the cruel irony not lost on either of them. "The difference is I had access to care," he acknowledged, tears gathering in his eyes. "Your mother deserved better." "Everyone deserves better," Noah replied, his voice soft but conviction unmistakable. Alexander reached for his hand, his fingers cold against his warm palm. "I have everything money can buy," he whispered, "but I've never had someone see me, not my name, not my position, just me until you." The confession hung between them, delicate as blown glass. During his recovery, Alexander made Noah promise to apply to medical programs, insisting his intelligence and compassion were too valuable to waste. Noah agreed, though privately wondering how he would finance such dreams. What he didn't know was that Alexander had already begun making arrangements, setting up an anonymous scholarship fund that would offer him a path forward without wounding his pride. Their worlds, once separated by circumstance, had begun to merge like two rivers flowing into one. Each carried their own waters, Alexander with privilege and power, Noah with resilience and raw humanity, creating something altogether new, where they converged. In that convergence lay healing for them both. A reminder that sometimes our greatest strength comes not from what we possess, but from what we recognize in others. The weeks following Alexander's hospitalization created a strange vacuum in Noah's life. Despite their profound connection at the hospital, he found himself unable to reach him. His calls went unanswered. The security at Wintermed's headquarters refused him entry. The walls between their worlds, temporarily bridged by crisis, seemed to have rebuilt themselves higher than before. Noah focused on moving forward, securing a position at Richardson's Auto Repair, where his mechanical skills earned modest but stable income. Each night, he continued studying, his temporary housing at a shelter offering little privacy but blessed relief from winter streets. When the acceptance letter arrived from Harvard Medical School with news of a full scholarship from the Future Physicians for Equity Fund, Noah read it repeatedly, certain there must be some mistake. The scholarship anonymously donated covered not just tuition, but living expenses. Though he couldn't prove Alexander's involvement, his fingerprints seemed evident on this unexpected miracle. Spring transformed Boston, trees blossoming while Noah's life underwent its own renaissance. He secured a small apartment near campus, attended orientation, and began cautiously embracing possibility. Though thoughts of Alexander remained constant, his silence suggested he had moved on. Perhaps his family had convinced him that their connection was inappropriate, a temporary fascination rather than genuine friendship. Then on a rain-soaked Tuesday morning, a black town car stopped beside him as he walked to work. The window lowered to reveal not Alexander, but an elegant man whose features carried echoes of his son. Nicholas Winter's eyes, though swollen from crying, held the same directness Noah remembered in Alexander. "You're Noah Parker," he said. "Not a question, but a statement. I need you to come with me." The silence during their drive felt leaden with unspoken meaning. Noah watched familiar neighborhoods give way to the exclusive enclaves of Beacon Hill, where historic mansions stood like sentinels guarding generational wealth. The Winters estate, imposing behind wrought iron gates, seemed to belong to another century entirely. In the mahogany-paneled study, Nicholas spoke the words that collapsed Noah's newly reconstructed world. "Alexander passed away 3 days ago, a complication from his heart condition." His voice remained steady, though his hands trembled. "He left specific instructions concerning you." The revelation stunned Noah into silence. Alexander vibrant, determined, compassionate, Alexander gone without warning, without goodbye. The room seemed to tilt on its axis, gravity shifting beneath his feet. "He spoke of you often during his final weeks." Nicholas continued, "You made quite an impression on my son, Mr. Parker." Nicholas led him through the mansion to a room he would never have expected, a sun-filled studio where canvases covered every surface. Alexander's secret passion revealed in vivid color. Paintings of city streets, homeless individuals with dignity rather than pity, and several of Noah himself captured through his eyes, his expression thoughtful and gentle beneath the hardship etched on his features. "Alexander left you this house," Nicholas said quietly, "along with a trust fund for your medical education and future practice." His will was quite specific. Noah shook his head in disbelief. "I can't accept this. I barely knew him." "But he knew you," Nicholas countered. "Better than you might think." He handed Noah an envelope bearing his name in Alexander's elegant handwriting. "He asked me to give you this when the time came." Noah's hands trembled as he opened the letter, Alexander's voice seeming to rise from the carefully penned words. "Noah, if you're reading this, I've finally lost my lifelong battle with my stubborn heart. Ironic, since you helped me find my heart's true purpose during our brief friendship. I've spent years building technology to improve healthcare while ignoring the human element that you embody so naturally. You showed me what compassion looks like without resources, while I had resources without truly understanding compassion. I'm not leaving you this inheritance out of pity or charity, but because I believe in your dream with a certainty I've rarely felt about anything. The world needs doctors who understand suffering from experience, not textbooks. My legacy in medicine shouldn't be technology alone, but the human touch you'll bring to countless patients who need to be seen as people first. Please don't let pride stand in the way of accepting this gift. Think of it not as charity, but as an investment in every life you'll save, including, in some small way, an extension of my own." Noah looked up from the letter to find Richard Winters standing in the doorway, his expression unreadable. The tension between them crackled like static electricity before a storm. "My son was an excellent model of character," Richard said stiffly. I wasn't. I've spent a lifetime evaluating people based on their bank accounts rather than their actions. He stepped into the studio, surveying the artwork with fresh eyes. Alexander wanted to be an artist before I pushed him into business. These paintings show what I refused to see. His heart was always elsewhere. Standing amidst Alexander's paintings, surrounded by his secret self, Noah understood that accepting his gift meant honoring not just his belief in him, but his vision for a more compassionate world. The inheritance wasn't about wealth changing hands, but about continuing a legacy of seeing people truly seeing them when the rest of the world looked away. Some bridges between worlds are built not of steel and concrete, but of understanding and trust. Alexander Winters had engineered such a bridge, connecting privilege with purpose, ensuring that his own brief journey would extend through Noah's healing hands for years to come. 10 years passed like turning pages in a well-loved book, each chapter building upon the last. Dr. Noah Parker stood at the podium, the morning sunlight streaming through windows of the newly inaugurated Winters Community Health Center. The audience before him represented both worlds. He now bridged medical colleagues in pressed white coats alongside former homeless individuals whose faces he'd once known beneath bridges and in shelter lines. Healthcare isn't a privilege, Noah stated, his voice carrying the quiet authority of someone who had walked through fire and emerged transformed. It's a human right, Alexander Winters understood this, though he never had the chance to fully realize his vision. Today, we honor not just his generosity, but his belief that medicine must see the person before the patient, the humanity before the disease. The state-of-the-art facility stood in a formerly neglected Boston neighborhood, its doors open to those traditionally underserved LGBTQ+ youth, homeless individuals, and families without insurance. Every examination room displayed one of Alexander's paintings, his artistic vision watching over the medical practice he had made possible. Nicholas Winters sat in the front row, his elegant hands clasped around a handkerchief. Over the years, he had become the father Noah had lost, their relationship forged in shared grief and mutual respect. Though initially awkward, their Sunday dinners had become sacred ritual, Nicholas sharing stories of Alexander's childhood while Noah described his medical challenges and triumphs. Alexander saw potential where others saw problems. Noah continued, he recognized that sometimes the greatest medical minds might come from unlikely places, not just prestigious universities, but from streets and shelters where empathy is learned through lived experience. The Winters Medical Scholarship now supported 5 students annually, each from disadvantaged backgrounds, each committed to serving underrepresented communities after graduation. Noah personally mentored each recipient, remembering his own journey from hopelessness to healing. Richard Winters had initially contested Alexander's will, unable to accept his son's choices. The court battle had been bitter until the day Richard discovered Alexander's journal, detailing his growing disillusionment with corporate medicine and his secret dream of creating exactly the kind of community clinic that now stood completed. Reading his son's words transformed his opposition into reluctant support, eventually blossoming into genuine advocacy as he witnessed Noah's dedication. Following the ceremony, Noah walked through the clinic's corridors alone, fingers trailing along walls that represented far more than architectural achievement. Each room had been designed with dignity in mind. Waiting areas felt like living rooms rather than sterile holding pens. Examination rooms prioritized privacy and comfort, and the pharmacy provided medications at cost rather than profit. In his private office hung the first painting Alexander had created of him, Noah Beneath the Bridge, studying his medical text by streetlight. Beside it hung a photograph taken on the day he received his medical license, Nicholas beaming proudly at his side. Together, they told the story of a journey that defied probability, of barriers crossed and worlds connected. That evening, as twilight settled over Boston, Noah stood on the rooftop garden created in Alexander's memory. Medicinal plants and flowers bloomed in carefully tended beds, healing made beautiful, just as he would have wanted. He removed from his pocket the letter he had written him, its creases worn from countless readings. Though he knew every word by heart, the physical connection to his handwriting still provided comfort. "We did it, Alex," he whispered to the fading light. Your vision. My hands. The Winter Center had already treated thousands, charging based on ability to pay often nothing at all. Each patient received the same quality care regardless of circumstance, their dignity preserved alongside their health. The medical establishment had initially dismissed Noah's model as unsustainable, yet the results proved otherwise. When patients received preventative care rather than expensive emergency interventions, both human and financial costs decreased dramatically. Noah's research on healthcare disparities among homeless populations had gained national attention, leading to policy changes and increased funding. The boy who once slept beneath bridges now testified before Congress, his lived experience lending authenticity to his expertise. Through it all, he remained grounded in the daily practice of medicine, remembering names, listening carefully, touching lives one appointment at a time. Have you ever wondered how a single act of kindness might ripple outward, touching lives you'll never know? Alexander Winter saw something in Noah Parker that others missed, not just potential, but inherent worth regardless of circumstance. His recognition became the catalyst for transformation that extended far beyond one life, creating healing where once there was only hurt. Follow Heart Stories for more journeys of unexpected connection, where worlds collide and compassion bridges even the widest divides. Because sometimes the most powerful stories aren't about where we come from, but about who sees us clearly enough to show us where we might go.